Together we are but first coffee. Susie's just our host, but what matters most is we are a team. Together we are all safe here, and so are you. Among friends and mods we are safe. We talk about trauma, break down drama of life, death, happy or sad, even mad. We discuss it all here. Together we will thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Together we fight cults or fight addictions. If not with experience, with love, and we don't judge. Please understand, this is a safe place to land. Please understand, you're not alone. This is a safe place to land. Together we thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Because we are but first coffee, and Susie welcomes us all here. Together we are but first coffee, and Susie.
Hey, everybody. Well, better check that mic. I'm always, I'm paranoid now, y'all. I can see the light on, but then I'm like, oh, I might have the volume turned. There's no telling. Yeah, I'm paranoid. How's everybody doing? It is so good to see you. I saw that Vernon is here. I had really, really been worried about him. I hadn't seen him. Now, I try to tell myself, now you don't always see everybody that comes in to the chat. Sometimes people are lurking or they're on the replay or something. Just because they're not chatting doesn't mean they're not there. But when I don't see somebody that generally does chat a lot, then I do get worried. So Vernon, I'm glad you are well. You were missed, and I'm glad that you're back. So I did also see John just entered the back room. So thank you, John, for being here. He can star some comments for me, which will be good. Eileen, good to see you too. Always glad when you're here. Cowboys fan says, I hope Aaron's voice is better. Not really. Not really. You know, it, it's weird. Mine has done the same thing, but I have been lucky enough that the days that I wasn't going live or have been the days that I didn't have a voice. Or there was a day, think it was, I don't remember, last week or something, that I moved some lives around or something because I had one day that I flat did not have a voice at all. So I'm telling you guys, whatever this funk is, it is bad. I'm entering my third week of being sick. I have been in contact with my doctor, and there's absolutely nothing that they can do. It's some sort of weird flu that just will not go away. And it seems like that it is all over the country and even in Canada and other places too. It's a mess. It's so yeah, I my eyes feel weepy, and it's a mess. By the end of the show, by the time that I get off of here and then I actually sit down to talk to Mark afterwards, I generally don't have a voice left. So I keep my coffee by me, and it keeps me where I can talk for a while, at least during this. It's been really good, I think. I'm trying to do shows on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, and leave time for others if I want to, but those 3 days for sure, and I think that that's gonna work good for me because those are the days that Mark, my husband, works. He works 3 days a week now. He was working, well, before he worked 60, 80 hours a week easy. every single week unless we were on vacation. And then last year, he went down to where he worked 40 to 50 hours a week, and that was it. He said, "I'm not working over that." So then this year, he went back to him and he says, "I'm not working over 30, period." And he's only doing that because at 30, he can keep his insurance on me and him, but he would be able to qualify for Medicare or whatever, but I can't. And so, yeah, that's why he's working 30. So he's working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We talked about it. Those were good days for me to go live, and I don't talk to him all day. So I have time to work on my lives. I have time to let my voice rest, and that has really so far come in handy this year. I've been sick the whole stinking year. Isn't that awful sounding? Oh, the whole year. Granted, it's just been what, 3 weeks, 20 days. I've been pretty much sick for almost 20 days. So I hope everybody else is doing good. That was a long explanation. So I hope everybody's doing good. It is good to see you. I, Eileen, it is always good to see you here. And Cowboy fan, whoops, my thing is moving crazy again. They are telling me that my sound is good, so that's good. That helps. I see some people that I don't know, and you are welcome as long as you don't act like a pee-pee stick. That is our kind way of saying don't be a dick. Um, we really do. We don't mind if you come in and you even if you disagree with something that we're saying or talking about, that's fine. Just don't be an asshole about it, and we are fine. But if you cross that line, I have plenty of mods that will stick a boot in your butt real fast. So, oh, Eileen, I had an interview for a new job, so fingers crossed. Oh, fingers crossed. Let us know when you hear something. Yeah, he needs some hot tea and honey and lemon. Yeah, I agree. I agree, cowboy fan. I do. Uh, whenever in the evenings, whenever I get off of here, I always now I don't drink the honey and lemon, but I do always sit down and have a cup of tea, whether it's just a regular cup of tea or my peppermint tea, whatever, but it does help. It really does help. I need to start doing the peppermint tea before I go on because I think that that might help with all this business, but hopefully that's gonna clear up. Yeah. Yeah, Eileen. John says, "You got this. You got it. If it is meant for you to have that job, you are gonna have it, and it is gonna work out wonderful for you." Yeah, this Marilee says this pain in the butt virus is making the Oh, Vernon, what I was recently watching Aaron Reese and Nora. They are more messed up than the Jehovah Witnesses. I know. You know, every one of us, we all are messed up. That is one thing. Some more than others, of course. But yeah, isn't it awful? We are all messed up in our own ways. Lord Kiss Freak says, Susie, I'm gonna have to get Harley jewelry and makeup boxes now. Get her those makeup, they call them a pouch. They're just like a little like an envelope kind of thing that's cloth and it zips. They're inexpensive and they're great. And she could like divide it up. Like I divide mine into, like if it's lip stuff or eye stuff or whatever. For those that don't know, I have kind of self-appointed myself as Chris's daughter, Harley. I've kind of self-appointed myself as her aunt in the United States. And I no, they've not asked me to appoint myself that. I just that's just me, okay? That's just what I do. And I sent a fairly large package with a lot of makeup and jewelry. I mean, nothing the makeup, some of it was expensive stuff, but I didn't pay for it. I get a lot of makeup gifted to me, um, to get me to try it, and it's a mess. But anyway, I'll have to go into all of that at some point. No, I don't get paid. I just get a lot of makeup, and I used to get paid. I don't anymore. So I had an overabundance, and I've just passed a lot of that on. So anyway, the jewelry is not expensive jewelry, but it is fun, and I love fun jewelry. So I passed a lot of that on to her. So, oh, my husband just walked in with the mail. Is this Hillary Clinton? Somebody named Kevin is asking if I'm Hillary Clinton. No, I'm not Hillary Clinton. I don't even think I really look like her, but I think I'm gonna take it as a compliment. Probably not meant to be, but I'm going to. Yeah, John can't get over this crap either. Oh, I do too. Steve, I hope this dreadful flu flies away soon. I really do. You're blocked from commenting. Vernon says he's blocked from commenting on Reese's chat. Well, I probably am too. So I think the very best people are. So, in my humble opinion, never in. Aaron is here. Seventh Invader Force. Good to see you too. I'm just trying to go down through here. Vernon, she may have. I don't know. She may have found out you come here. JBZ18. I don't recognize that name either, but again, welcome. We'll see how everything goes. Yeah, her cool aunt from Oklahoma. I hope so. I hope so. Hey, B. Hey, good to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. If I miss you, I'm sorry. It is not on purpose. I just, at some point I have to move on, or I would just do I would love to do that sometime and do nothing but just look at the chat and talk to y'all, but I'll just set one of those up again. We did one of those not too long ago, and I think that it was fun. So maybe, I don't know, maybe next week we'll do one of those, or maybe later this week or something we could do one of those where we just sit and I just, like, answer y'all's questions or whatever, we just talk. I think that would be fun again. We've had a couple of those. Yeah, only 5 likes, we can do better. Absolutely, absolutely, y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share, I don't care, I like it. It does put us out to the algorithm and helps us get seen by more eyes. And if any of y'all know, I don't do this for the money. Do I get paid? Yeah, a little, very little, but, I want the views. I do, because I think that probably a good 97% of what we talk about is important. Sometimes it's just silliness. Sometimes it's silly. Maybe it's important on some level, but I think 95 to 97% of our shows are important. And so, yeah, I want those to be seen by people. So, that's my payoff, is that I think that if we get the more people that we get seen by, the more likely it is that it might something we say might help somebody. And that's the goal. So, hey, Cindy, good to see you. Really is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and we'll see what we come up with for the night, right? I will check back with the chat later. John is there to star some comments. So if you have a question or a comment, please mark those with a Q or a C or something to get our attention, because if it starts moving fairly fast, then it gets a little hard to keep up. So, John, thank you very much, my friend, for being back there. I see you got a cup of coffee or tea or something, and I'm jealous. I can't hardly wait to get mine. Hey, pup groomer, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a long time. Oh my gosh, thank you. We were talking about you the other day. We were talking about you the other day, and it was all good. Don't worry. It was all good. But we were talking about you, and so then it's awesome that you've popped up. I appreciate that. Thank you. But anyway, So, hi, and welcome to everybody. Tonight, we are talking about when ex Scientologists and even their allies attack other ex Scientologists and their allies. And I don't know, specifically when it's, kind of a creator on creator kind of a deal. And I want to talk about it a little bit, but I want to kind of maybe figure it out a little. Now, I don't think I'm gonna fix anything, and I don't think I've got all the answers by any means, but I think sometimes having conversations, it can't hurt, right? So, I think that this whole topic is crazy and multi-layered, and I am in no way a therapist. I am in no way a professional as far as a cult professional, and I know I say that all the time, but it's important that everybody knows that I know that, and I want you to know that. This is just me, okay? And my thought process and a lot of research to see what a lot of the professionals do say. But a lot of times it's just me, and I'll tell you when it's just me or when it's professionals. So anyway, uh, uh, my thought on this whenever and it's been kind of a hectic couple of weeks, but I've really had this on my mind and on the back burner for a while. And my thought on it is that we can all see patterns, right? We all see patterns of behavior. And I'm not talking specific people. That's not my point, okay? Um we're not talking about secret silent ops, behind the scenes stuff. This is loud and proud stuff that I'm talking about where people are actually it's like they're in it's kind of an in your face warfare kind of a situation. And I don't say that to be like overly dramatic. I say that because that's how it feels. It feels sometimes like we are at war. So I've been for the last again, like I said, for several months, putting this back and forth, on the schedule. It's been on the schedule, put back on the back burner kind of thing, on and off and on and off. And I just was like, it seems like that there's just been a lot lately in the last 2 or 3 weeks even. And remember, I always, always, always welcome y'all's input. And I know that this is not something that we are gonna fix here on this little channel, but you know what? If it reaches even 1 or 2, it would be wonderful, right? People, that maybe they don't even realize what they're doing, and maybe something that somebody says or whatever will click, and they'll be like, "Oh, I get that." Then then that's a win, right? My biggest wish, and I really do wanna find a way to do that, is to turn this into, like, how I mean, I guess there's ways, I just gotta figure it out, but I would love for this to be like a town hall type thing where we can all literally, in real time, sit and talk these things out, and all kinds of subjects, not just this, but all kinds of subjects, and I just think that that would be amazing, and I really do wanna work towards being able to do something like that, and, I'm mentioning this name, and I'm not bad mouthing anybody or anything, but I do think that what Reese has done where she has and I guess she still does, I don't know. But anyway, where she has those Zoom meetings, that's something that I can see that I would like for us to be able to do in the future. Maybe not in the same way she does it or with the same, whatever, but that's a pretty damn good idea. I mean, really, that's pretty cool. So, love her or hate her, I'm not saying anything one way or the other, but I do think that that's a pretty interesting way to do it, and I understand wanting to be able to actually converse with people. So, anyway, so we're gonna talk about this tonight, okay? And I do promise that unless you make a pee-pee stick out of yourself, your message is not gonna be deleted, you're not gonna be timed out, nothing like that. I actually welcome conversations with people that don't always agree with me. I mean, how boring would it be if we were all exactly alike and just parroted each other's thoughts? I just, you know, I especially like to see people that maybe don't like me or don't think they like me who come in and maybe give me a chance to change their mind. And if not, that's fine too. But I want to start tonight with why ex Scientologists in particular, y'all, attack each other. And I I think, again, my opinion, but I have really thought about this and I think that there are three main reasons. Now, again, there are probably 100 reasons, but I think that a lot of them can be lumped into three categories. And the first one is that they are trained for years. I've wrote this down so I won't forget. They are trained for years to identify and destroy enemies. If y'all could see, it's no wonder that I don't know what I'm saying half the time. My paper says destroy enies. Enies. Yeah. But that is the truth. They are trained. They're pretty much trained that everybody is an enemy and that if somebody truly is an enemy or does anything against Scientology, that they are to be destroyed. And so I think that that mentality, I got to get a tissue, sorry. I think that that mentality sticks with them long after they leave the cult. Number 2 is that I think that they often lack the emotional maturity or the experience, life experiences, right, to handle conflict. And why I think that is because they don't have normal life experiences. That's not a cut down. I'm not cutting any of them down. I think that it's amazing that they come out even relatively healthy, and can get by in the world. I think it's wonderful. I don't see ex-Scientologists as the enemy or any of that. I see Scientology as the enemy, not the people themselves. And the third thing is there seems to always be a financial payoff to the ones that attack others. And that's, we're going to talk about each of these three, but I really think that. I mean, I I sit and watch a lot, y'all. I sit back and I think and probably overthink a lot of stuff. And if you don't agree, please tell me. Tell me what you think is the problem because, I'm just some little old lady. My grandson one time had a cane and he's walking. He goes, "I'm just a little old lady," imitating me, which I was not old at the time. I'm still not necessarily old. I'm 59. But this was how long ago? Probably a good, what, 12 years ago, Mark? Probably? Yeah, so about 12 years ago, I was not old. But yeah, little and I certainly didn't talk like this. Yeah. So anyway, mm. But anyway, I wanna say, I know that I'm oversimplifying some of this, and it probably has much deeper roots. I know that. But I also ooh, throw my notes. I also know that I'm not qualified to do the deep dig into their psyche and to diagnose things like narcissistic abuse or psychotic gobbledygook. And I'm actually kind of glad that I'm not able to diagnose that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're stuck in the teenage mindset. Cowboy fans, I agree. And a lot of them will even say that they weren't given the chance to learn the things that people on the outside learn in their teens about relationships and fighting and all that. So I really am not trying to insult anybody. But anyway, I'm not here to fix it or them. but I wanna help you and me deal with whatever hot mess they all got going on, because we are right here in the big middle of it, and we have to protect ourselves and not let their hot mess become our hot mess, if that makes any sense. So, back to number 1. So, if y'all been here long, you know that L. Ron Hubbard, he was a batshit crazy, valor stealing person, because I don't like to call him a man, who created Scientology. And I could, as have several others of you that are creators with much more knowledge than me, we could write a book. We could do videos, which I have, lots of people have. Or we could write a book telling all the crap that this man believed or stole from other people, as far as, and then, incorporated it into his wisdom and his beliefs and all that. But he was just crazy. And I don't mean that. I don't like to say that word, but this man was crazy and evil. And he led a life of nothing but lies and manipulations, but his teachings were defend, or never defend, always attack. Never defend, always attack, right? And to literally just obliterate your enemies. And again, everybody is the enemy. If they dare to say anything not in complete agreement, then that means enemy. Okay. He taught that it was not just acceptable, but it was the job of any Scientologist to lie, cheat, steal, completely destroy an enemy by all means, and to not fear any kind of repercussions of it, or repercussions of it. I can't talk. Not, they weren't going to be punished, basically. So what are we seeing now when they attack? They attack using everything they've got. They have, they will lie, cheat, steal, and anything that they can to completely destroy the enemy. And again, it's their training, and I don't think they've ever completely overcome that. Now, the second part of that is, again, they don't have the emotional maturity or the experience to properly handle conflict. That's not an insult. That's like, Cowboy fans said, they even talk about it. They were taken out of any kind of schooling, or some of them never lived on the outside world and went to real schools or had, neighbors and all that. But even the ones that did, they basically, that all ends in middle school. About by age 12, they're done. Well, what happens at about age 12? We start learning the skills of how to handle relationships, whether it be friends or neighbors or working relationships, boyfriends and girlfriends, the whole bit. That's about the age that you start learning all that stuff. But they're taken away from school, and if they ever were around their parents, they're not then, and it just, that has to be just a recipe for disaster. They're thrust into adulthood versus where we have, moved into adulthood and learned to be adults. Instead, they're forced to work 100-hour weeks. They're taught to tattle and to trust no one. And that all relationships in Scientology are transactional. They weren't allowed to create any kind of healthy coping skills. You know, I don't know if you watched I was watching Aaron Smith Levin's video before I came here, and he was actually asked he was doing a question and answer, and he was asked something along that lines, and he was explaining well, he was actually explaining, like, does he miss the friends that he had in Scientology and all that kinda stuff, and he was explaining that, yeah, some, but on so much of a level, they don't really make real friends, what we would consider real friends, because it is transactional. You are taught to snitch on everything. We teach our children not to be snitches unless it's something important. And they teach the very opposite, to snitch on everything. Everything. So, and the third part is the money issue. And I really believe that this is the biggest force that causes a lot of creator on creator drama and attacks. You know, if you think about it, we don't really hear a lot of stories about ex Scientologists that don't have a YouTube channel attacking those that do, or the ones that do don't really attack the ones that don't have a channel. I mean, they might disagree with them, but there's not these like attacks, where you are an all out enemy. And I think that has to do a lot with a money thing. I really do. So I think that it's a case of people who maybe have not completely left the cult mentality behind, and who haven't learned proper coping mechanisms and conflict resolution techniques, who were deprived of an education and that helps them to earn a living. And because of their lack of education, I do not for a moment believe that they are stupid. These are some of the smartest people that I've ever been around, is some of these Scientologists that didn't have a formal education. I think that they need to be proud of how smart they are. I really do. And but anyway, I think that people figure out quickly that on YouTube, the more drama, the louder, the more outlandish, then the more views. And the more views, the more money. And I really think that that becomes a big point in some of these attack videos. It's easy peasy to fall into that trap, y'all. I fell into it, not to the extent I don't think that some of these did. And I wasn't raised in a cult, but I'm not gonna go into it. We'll have a whole video on that, I promise. Anytime we will do it, I promise. But yeah, just on here, I can guarantee you if I do a video that even looks like it might have a little bit of drama to it, I'll get many hundreds or even thousands of views. And if I do a video that is so important and so just, you know, gets me in the feels kind of a deal, I'm lucky to hit 2 or 300 views. So if that's happening with me, it's certainly happening with them. And if they are dependent on that income, I kind of get it. I don't like it, but I kind of get it. It's kind of a human nature to do whatever you got to do to survive. And survival in this world means making money. And I think that ex-Scientologists a lot of times still think in the short term instead of the long term, where I thought, "I cannot sustain this long term. I don't This is not who I wanna be. This is not the content I wanna do. I don't wanna be doing this in 5 years." But I think that because of the whole belief system that they have, that they just, can drop the body and go on to another body, I don't think that this life maybe has the importance to them, as it does to some of the rest of us, because I think that they think they have lived millions of lives and will live millions more. So, again, I don't think that that's necessarily I don't mean that as a cut down. I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong with their thinking, because of their training. So, anyway, but, yeah, I get the draw to do drama. I just don't think it's sustainable, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit too. But, yeah, at some point, enough has to be enough, and to continue with hours and hours of daily attacks for months or even years, it stops being that you're blowing the whistle on bad behavior, and it just becomes that you're being obsessive, and I believe it can be dangerous. I think that not only is it dangerous for the person that's doing it, because having that degree of, hate and their blood pressure has to be up, y'all. I'm telling you, you can't do that kind of a video without it affecting you inside, and so that's dangerous. I also think that the constant hammering on people is dangerous to the person that's being attacked. Honestly, whether they deserve to be attacked or not is not even it's a moot point. It's dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous. And, yeah, I that was a lot of what got me kicked out of the drama type industry. I wasn't firmly in it, but I was tiptoeing in it a little bit, and I don't like it. I didn't like who I was, and I didn't like that it hurt people. I Even people I don't like. I wasn't out to hurt people. I was actually trying to help other people, and it anyway. So, hmm, I think what we need to do now is I think it is absolutely fine to call out people for bad behavior. I think that we need to at times. But I think that what we do is we do that, and then we back away and we go do our thing, and that if it becomes important to do it again, that we do that then, but not that we do it constantly. And, I'm just glad I'm not dependent on the money because I can afford to cover important topics and not just drama. But anyway, so, um, but people who sustain their themselves, right, and their channel with daily and monthly long attack videos are doing it for the money. I absolutely believe that, and it's sad because it is sad, and like I said before, that's what pays. And if they are dependent on that money, of course they're gonna pick that. Of course they're going to. I'm lucky enough not to have to depend on it. So I didn't. I could walk away from it and be like, "Done." That's what I tell my dogs whenever we're out of food. I'm like, "It's all gone." And that's what I did with the majority of any kind of drama. But, I don't know. We're all human, but eventually, I believe that these people that are sustaining it in attacks, these creators that are sustaining their channels by attacking other channels, I think that eventually they're going to jump the shark. And when that happens, they're gonna get canceled, basically, because, you know, after a while, audiences are fickle and they've moved on to something else, and those people are still stuck on the same subject, the same attack of the same person over and over and over. And, their fans are gonna grow disillusioned over time. They're gonna get bored. And the enemies that they have made all these videos about, they're either gonna be thriving because they have just, like, completely turned their back on all of that, or they were are gonna successfully have driven good people doing good work off of YouTube. And either way, that doesn't benefit the person that's doing the attacks. And that's what I keep seeing is that I keep seeing that this is not gonna end well. And in all honesty, a lot of the people that do this kind of attacks, I care about them. I might not agree with them. I might not particularly like them. I might even dislike some of them, but I care about their health, on a human level. So, I don't know. I just think that some of these people that's all they do is just, attack and attack and attack. I think that they're gonna be left even more alone, even more penniless, and it will have helped nobody. So, anyway, I'm trying to check on these notes, and they're kind of a mess. Anyway, now I wanna kinda talk about just, like, the normal viewers or the normal mods, not people that are out creating attack videos or that are out attacking other creators on behalf of the person that they are fans of or mod for or that kind of situation. I want to talk about you all. Just the normal viewers that are just sitting back viewing stuff. Y'all are not the ones that are doing anything wrong. The ones that are doing something wrong are the hangers on who truly don't care about the creator that they're protecting. They're just there for clout or, you know, I'm trying to be gentle. So, or I'm talking about viewers that and or mods who become so dependent on the creator's approval. How about that? Okay. They become so dependent on the creator's approval that they will do their bidding no matter how much it hurts somebody else, whatever's asked of them, or even just hinted at. They will do whatever it takes just to remain in that creator's orbit. And y'all, that's also not healthy. It's not friendship. It's not love. It's not adoration. It's creepy. And again, I'm not talking about y'all sitting here. I don't think that anybody that I see in here is doing that. Hey, Erica, good to see you. I got a little flustered trying to be kind or gentle. So I'm glad that that little section is kind of over with. So I do want to flip this switch just a little bit, and I want to talk about how all of this attacking and belittling and all of that, how it affects never end creators or even our allies, the people sitting here in this chat, or you know myself as a never end, or you all as never ends or allies or whatever. We've been raised not to think of everything as black and white, okay? We tend to see the world and live in that gray area, you know? Um and never end creators and allies, we often support multiple survivors. We often try to stay neutral. We try to ask questions and accept the answers that we're given, whether we like the answer or not. We encourage nuance, which just means like different styles of doing your lives, we encourage that. We encourage different personalities. We don't think everything has to be this or that. It can be all of these things, right? And we do that because we, as never ends, are raised to understand how the world outside of a cult works. Whereas they are taught, the ex members have been taught how a cult stays in control. Not that that's what they want, that's just what they've been taught. But the never ends who are doing all the things I just talked about, a lot of times what we're doing gets misinterpreted. If y'all hear my dog snoring, she's an English bulldog. She sleeps about 22 hours a day, and most of that is noisy. But anyway, so most of those things get interpreted or misinterpreted as being disloyal, as suspicious. It's suspicious behavior, or we get accused of working for the other side, namely OSA. But in the real world, the truth is we are allowed to support more than one survivor. We are allowed to disagree respectfully. We are allowed to not pick a side, even if two of our very favorite survivors are at war with each other or break up or whatever that is. We get to not pick a side. Okay. I see a lot of that going on right now. I mean, immediately when trouble happens with Aaron and Jenna, everybody wants us to pick sides. Not even the creators, but a lot of the people outside, a lot, looking in are like, well, you've got to pick a side. No, we don't. I still watch everything that Aaron puts out, and I still watch everything that Jenna puts out. I am still friends, I hope anyway, with Eric and Cheryl, and I'm friends with Dusty, and I love Erica. She's probably who I think is the nicest person in this community. I wish we lived by each other and could be best friends, and that's the truth. And I just think that we don't have to pick a side. We just don't. We are allowed and capable, y'all, of supporting content without judging a creator's life choices or hating someone based on other people's opinions. You know, I don't care. Like, do I always agree with Aaron's choices? No. Do I really give them a whole lot of thought? Also, no. Why do I support him? Because he does good Scientology content, right? That's why. I mean, one reason, because he does good Scientology content. That's it. I mean, do I like his personality? Think he's funny? Yes. All that is true too. But why I watch him is because of what content he does. The same with other people. I watch other completely unrelated communities, and I watch them because of whatever reason I watch them for. Absolutely is never going to be because of who they love, who they don't love, whatever. Never going to be those reasons. But I'll tell you what does happen a lot is that we, as in, the never in community, we get attacked a lot from the inside the community. We get attacked for supporting or not supporting someone. We get attacked for who our friends are or who our friends aren't. And all that comes from other people in the community. But we also get attacked from people outside of the community, people who chose to leave or chose to to attack the community as a whole. People like DOA, people like him and his people show up and attack all of us too, and spread lies and, all that too. Another thing that happens is our real life friends and our real life families, and I don't mean that like the people that we have on here aren't our real friends. I'm talking about independently of anything on YouTube. Anyway, those people who are absolutely unaffected by the Church of Scientology or the cult of Scientology, as I usually call it, they think we're too involved. They think that we are obsessed. Why are you worrying about something that doesn't affect you? But it does affect us. And that's what I tell them. Human trafficking affects everybody, or it should. And if it doesn't, then that's on you, not on me. So, but it does wear on you when every direction it seems to be attacks. And you can kind of start to feel unwelcome, misunderstood, and just not appreciated anywhere. And so that's hard. It is a hard road to be in this space and be a never in. It really can be very difficult. We don't have our own stories to tell. We have to fall back on telling other people's stories. We have to fall back on doing a lot of research and coming up with, stories to tell about how awful this cult is. But they're not our stories. And it's hard. It really is not an easy job. It's not. And what happens when all that is going on is that we never ends whether we're creators or just allies, just devoted fans that watch these creators every day, and whether it is creators that are ex-Scientologists or even the never end creators, people get tired. They get tired of the drama. I know that even myself and others, we start feeling very defensive, like that we have to defend ourselves against all the attacks. And people stop trusting each other. Like, as a creator, I start wondering, are these people, in my chat, do they really like me, or are they over here spying for somebody? I don't do that with everybody or even all the time. But I think it's human nature to do it. And I'm sure that the ex-Scientologists, they have to be doing that kind of thing too, and so much of the time, they've been wronged by people that have come in, full tilt, these huge supporters, and then all of a sudden they turn on them, and it's disastrous, so I get that. But the worst part that happens with a lot of never ends and a lot of allies of the never ends and of the ex-Scientologists is that all of that stuff, it adds up, and we stop engaging. We stop watching. We stop caring. I'm like, I don't know, if I'm not wanted here or if I'm not comfortable here, I can go somewhere where I am kind of thing. And that's what fractures communities. And ironically, that the only thing that helps is Scientology. So no, it's not that these people, anybody, whether they're, doing these attack videos or they're the allies of somebody that is, or me who, just doesn't like this person or that person. We're not any of us probably working for OSA, but sometimes that is work that goes in their favor. And that's sad. So what I think that some ex-Scientologists forget is that we are not here to adore them. Most of us aren't here to make any money. We are not making any money. We are actually here to help them. And I just think that some of the ex-Scientology community forgets that this movement has made huge strides since the Never End community stepped up. Look at Erica. I mean, there's a lot of people. I know I'm constantly saying Erica, but damn it, that woman is a force, y'all. That's why I mention her. Is that she goes out there with people, alone, whatever, and is always there. She's making a difference. A lot of us are slowly just, plugging along, making our own dent in Scientology. But we are making with, by helping these these former Scientologists, that's never in community has made a bigger impact than the former Scientologists ever did on their own. Now, do I think that they need to kiss our ass? Absolutely not. I'm not kissing theirs and I don't want mine kissed. That's not the point. Is I think that we need to remember that we are on the same team and it is okay to do things different. It is okay to sit here and make videos that tell of all the sins of Scientology. It is okay to be boots on the ground protesting Scientology. It's okay to sit your ass in a chair and hold a sign and eat pizza. I don't care. Some of those some people wanna gripe about the Clearwater crew eating pizza. So, they're out there protesting at dinner time. I'm gonna wanna eat too. I'm sorry, but, people gotta eat. But even if it wasn't, why not make it fun? People will complain and say that it's too dramatic. Not them, I'm talking about in general. That it's this or that's too dramatic. I don't like the yelling at people. I don't like the in your face. I don't like this and that. But then they also don't like when people are just having fun but getting their point across. I would much rather see how the Clearwater crew does it, how they get their point across without having to raise their voice, without having to get in anybody's face. It's called respect. I think they know that those people that are in Scientology are not their enemies either. The organization is the enemy, not the people trapped in it. So I want you to know, though, that it is okay as a creator, as a protester, as a viewer, whatever, to take care of yourself. And if you are not getting fed in a good way by a creator, it is okay to step away. You know, it's okay. What I'm trying to do in the face of all the hate that we see so much of is I'm trying to remind myself that so much of this is caused by former members that are in pain. Not that they are evil, that they're in pain. But I'm having to learn to set boundaries. And I need to be able to set those without demonizing someone else. If I need to say, this specific relationship is not good for me, or, this content is not good for me, or I need to take a time off, I need to be able to do that without saying, I'm doing it because this person is a blah, 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 blah. We don't need to do that. We just need to be able to take care. Does it help us anymore to blame our pain on a specific person? verbally to do that, to voice, "This is why I'm in pain, is this." Does that help any more than just admitting to yourself that I need to take care of this? Absolutely not. But setting that boundary where you do not allow that person to hurt you anymore is absolutely healthy. That's what I'm trying to do is set boundaries where I don't let people that hurt me or hurt my friends have that in and that ability to do that. And we need to, if we have somebody that we genuinely dislike and everything, that's one thing. But we need to sit back and kind of take stock too and just make sure that we're not shit talking somebody today that we loved yesterday without damn good reasons. And maybe take the time to deal with that hurt internally before we focus it outwardly. That's a good lesson that I think all of us could learn. I don't think that a lot of ex Scientologists know that. I think that they are very much like, if you stub your toe and then you scream, I think that that's what they're doing. They're feeling something, so they scream about it right then when it's not helping to scream about it. Maybe, you wait and see if you broke your toe when you stubbed it and then maybe say something. But anyway, that's just me. We have to be allowed to disagree without exiling somebody and turning them into just this horrible person that doesn't belong on earth, basically. It's acceptable to part ways. It's culty to trash people just because we've parted ways. We need to be able to step away when content becomes harmful. And by harmful, I mean even if that is to our or somebody else's mental health. And as creators, whether we're ex Scientologists or we're never ends, we need to have that right to step away also. If we are somebody that is just doing hate content, hate content, hate content, hate content, and then we just have this awakening and we literally turn our back on that behavior and we start fresh. We need to be allowed the opportunity to do that and to prove to ourselves and to you that we can do different and that we can be different. Now, that doesn't mean that we just have to forget everything like, that somebody has said. That's not the point. But we have to be allowed to make healthy choices in our lives and changes. We are also allowed to just not watch. If you liked, okay, so like, say you liked me whenever I first started, and then for whatever reason you don't like me now, you are not forced to keep watching me. You can step away from me. And I guarantee you that if enough people step away from creators that are, doing hurtful content, it's going to get their attention. It absolutely will get their attention. This one's hard though, and I am working on this every day and fail about every other day. Not every reaction needs a response. We don't have to attend every argument that we are invited to. It's kind of what that means. We can simply say, even to ourselves, silently, this space no longer feels safe for me. or this person no longer feels safe for me, whatever that is. We are not only allowed, but we must protect our own peace. It is not anybody else's job to protect your peace. I truly do believe that we all want this community to heal, to be better. I don't think that we ever are going to be perfect. We are humans. Nobody is perfect. We might not even ever be unified. The days of everybody being one big happy SPTV or whatever you want to call it family are more than likely over, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine. We don't have to be unified, but we do need to be humane. We need to fight the real enemy and leave all this attacking and judging and trashing to the real cult. Survivors deserve grace, even from each other. But grace and adoration are not the same. And what happens so much is that people get so hung up on adoring people that then if they make the least little mistake, they're, we're just devastated by it. But allies, all of you people in the chat, you deserve grace too, and you deserve respect. The never ends deserve some grace and respect for fighting a demon that's not even ours. Because if we're not doing it because it's our fight and we're not doing it for money, why are we doing it? We're doing it for you, for the former cult members. We're doing it for you and for those that are still in the cult. I saw a quote and I lost it and I couldn't, not lost it like what? But I then lost the quote and I couldn't ever figure out who it came from. But anyway, the quote said, "No one should have to bleed publicly." And I believe that. I think that we need to quit attacking people. We need to quit throwing stones at people. We need to quit, throwing daggers and all this stuff that makes these people bleed publicly. Not literally, metaphorically, yes, but you get the point. It's kind of one of those, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Words hurt. Sometimes those broken bones heal, but a lot of times the wounds that we receive from words never heal. That's why we have so many people that are triggered by so many things. That's why we have so many people that are deeply hurt. And I think that a lot of people that are deeply hurt and have been deeply mistreated by whatever thing or person out there, I think that we are often drawn to this anti Scientology, ex Scientologist community because we witness something, we recognize something in them that we feel in ourselves. So the next time that you're watching somebody that is just throwing absolutely uncalled for stones at somebody else, just remember that no one should have to bleed publicly. Even whenever we put convicted, horrific criminals to death, it's not done publicly in most places. because that's not humane. We show those people more humanity than we show each other. So, I said this the other night, and my friend John said that it hit him. I said that we aren't here to create victims, we're here to help them. And that's what this channel is gonna be. And I can't promise that I won't ever not, that I will never say a bad word about somebody. I can't promise that because I am human and I am Southern. And, we have that little bit of a salty personality, kind of like a lot of Hispanics have very spicy, and fiery personalities. Well, I am human and I am Southern, so I'm not going to promise that I won't, but I will promise that just like I did tonight, I skipped a whole section of part that of my notes that I wrote down because it just didn't sound kind. It didn't carry what's in my heart. It didn't really say that. It was more of a reaction than than what I wanted to put forward. So anyway, I'm going to check in with the chat. I have a few starred comments, and again, I promised from the beginning we weren't going to fix this. We're not going to fix the fact that creators and their allies attack other creators and their allies, but I hope that I've covered what I sitting back watching patterns have kind of noticed happening a lot. And I would love to hear what you all have noticed. If you've noticed some of the same things or if you have noticed other patterns or what, please, mention it in the chat or in the comments afterwards cuz y'all, we are all just human and we all are supposed to be on the same team. And I was thinking about it a little bit, on teams like, and I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm not a big sports person. I don't know what the job of this person or that person on a team is. I mean, some's obvious, but I'm not going to pretend to know. But I do understand that on a football team, that each of those players out there, they have a different job. And of course, it is all to get a touchdown, right? Or to prevent the other team from getting a touchdown, right? That's how this is. That's how I see this community, is that we all have our own jobs to do. And what we're trying to do is to rid the world of Scientology. We're not trying to rid the world of Scientologists or ex Scientologists or allies of ex Scientologists. We're trying to rid the world of a cult. And so I want us to be a team. I want us to, some of us are going to be quarterbacks and some of us are going to be, I don't know, whatever all those other positions are, right? Linemen and I don't know, punters and whatever. Yeah, team us. Yeah, not team Nora or team Aaron or team Jenna or team Susie or team Marilyn or team none of that. It's team us, right? I don't know. I hope that's been helpful, and I'm gonna go check on my chat. I love you guys, I really do, and if I seemed a little discombobulated, it's because I am. I'm on so much cold and flu medicine, and when I write my notes, they don't always come out, they sound good when I'm writing it down, but whenever when I'm actually talking to y'all, sometimes it sounds a little harsh, and I'm not wanting to sound that way. So if I seemed a little I was. So let's check in with the chat. Thank you very much, Pup Groomer, for the gifted memberships. I appreciate that so much, and I will talk to you soon. Oh, I know what it was. We were talking about different people we wanted to have on the live to talk to. That's what we were talking about you. So, let's see here. Eileen, they're also trained to in bull baiting, where they learn to say the most heinous things to each other in order to get a reaction. Absolutely, and in order to not give a reaction, right? It kinda reminds me of, you know how, like, in the military, the drill sergeants will say the most horrible things to those young, new soldiers, but it's because in the military's case, it's because nothing that they can say is even close to what the enemy is going to say and do to you if you're captured. So that's the meaning behind it, but that got completely all twisted in that nutcase LRH's brain, okay? Because y'all, he stole stuff from everywhere, the military, everything, but he put his own warped spin on it. And so that was another one of those things. So let's see here. Vernon says, I was treated as a potential apostate just because I kept a religious book from another church. Yeah, I understand that. A friend of mine, because y'all know that I am a Christian, I am a little bit disenfranchised with organized religion, but this reminds me, I was given a Quran by a Muslim friend of mine. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because I was reading it. I mean, I had to learn how to do it and the whole bit. And of course, it was translated. But anyway, so I'm reading it, and I'm seeing some of the exact same stories. For example, the whole Noah's Ark thing is in there, and I was seeing some of those very same stories that are in our Bible, and I commented on that. Ooh. Yeah. What didn't go over well in church, did not, especially me as the church secretary slash, you know, uh, Sunday school teacher. Mark was the men's minister. It didn't go over well at all. So I get that. I get it. Vernon says Jehovah Witness consider all other churches as counterfeit and deceived by Satan. Yeah. I got news for you in a lot, and I don't mean you specifically, Vernon. Every church out there thinks that they're the one true church. All of them. I mean, they just do. Maybe they don't go so far as to say that this one is, satanic or something like that, but they all think that they're the one that's true. John says, "Hey James, how's our favorite Carapist?" Oh, I didn't even see that. There's James Collins. Hi, I say that all the time, James. If you watch me, you're probably going to hear it at least once a week. That James Collins says that we are not therapists. We are carapists. And I say it all the time. And I hear that. I hear you saying that in my head all the time. And I do. You are on the list of people that I cannot wait to have you on the show again. Everybody just loved you. So I'm not having any luck. There we go. Good to see you. I am always, always thrilled to see you. John says it's definitely not healthy for anyone's mental health, especially the creators. And more importantly, it takes away from the mission. Absolutely. 100%. That's what it does. All this fighting, it takes away from the mission and it chases good people away. If you think about how many people aren't doing content anymore, it's shocking when you really start thinking about it. And a lot of the people simply went away because it just became too much. Now, some people, I'm kind of glad it went away. I'm not going to lie. But a lot of them, no, maybe they don't do the things that, how I would do it or whatever, but they were still on the right side. And a lot of them have left. It doesn't help that a lot of viewers treat these feuds like entertainment. Thank you, Eileen. Like they're watching reality TV. The real ex-members of Clearwater or keeping up with the SPs. This is good and very true. I love that one. The real members, like the real whatever, the real ex-members of or yeah, absolutely. The story we leave, my dad was a pastor, and this stuff is exactly what happens behind the scenes in churches. Most people would never know or realize that. That's why I'm mostly a lurker. I've learned those lessons. Like I said, I was the secretary of our church, taught Sunday school. Well, I was the financial secretary and I was the pastor's um secretary, his personal assistant kind of person. And so yeah, you would be shocked, y'all. Y'all would be so shocked. People don't even know and don't you don't want to know. You don't. I have told Mark that it has kept me awake at night. It has been many years since that all happened, and I still will lay there at night and just think, "Was that real? Did that really happen?" So I get it. Y'all, I absolutely get it that these ex-Scientologists that it takes a a lot of therapy, a lot of time, a lot of healing to get past that cult because I was not raised deep into the, Baptist church, and I don't think that they are a cult. I think that they can be cultish just like any religion can be, but I'm still recovering from some of the things that happened in just a 3 or 4-year period, and so, I don't know, maybe my heart goes out to them because of that, so, yeah. John says, "In the end, the mission should be to end." Anytime I hear "in the end," I'm just gonna stop for a second. Anytime I hear "in the end," I immediately hear that song, and I can't think of the name of the band right now. Ah, I know it. I hate I hate Chemo Brain, and it lasts forever. The one that has now got a female that took his place, but anyway, y'all know what I mean, but anyway, so yeah, I am, that's what I hear, but he says, "In the end, the mission should be to end the cult of Scientology. The rest is just a distraction." Absolutely. Absolutely. Why are my fingers not working right? Here we go. Erica's here. She says, "We all have personal lives that they don't have anything to do with the anti-Scientology work we do." Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that sometimes that becomes an issue with a lot of the actual anti or the actual former Scientologists is that a lot of things that I was reading is that their entire identity was Scientology, but then for the ones that come over here, you know, they leave the cult and they end up on YouTube, that their entire identity becomes as a former Scientologist or as a YouTube creator or something, and that I think that that makes sense too. Vernon says, "Susie, what about the division between the Aftermath Foundation and the SPTV Foundation?" I think that that is um, sad. In my personal opinion, I think that it's warranted. I understand it. It is sad. I think that both foundations want to help Scientologists leave Scientology or ex Scientologists succeed after leaving Scientology. I think that it is sad that it was brought to such a boiling point, but foundations aren't okay. Foundations are not like a it's just this thing, right? They are the people that run them. Just like a church. I mean, yeah, sure, a church is a building, but without the people, it's just a building. And so it's the same with these foundations. A foundation is just people, and people are fallible, and people make mistakes, people do good things. They're people. And I think that that's what has happened between these two foundations. And I think that, it is fine if you support one and not the other. I think it's fine if you support them both. And, you know, I I don't know. That's my 2 cents worth on that, I guess. From a poet, hello. It's the guilt by association crap that gets my goat. Absolutely. You're friends with this person, so you are blah, 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 blah. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things that I um became friends with knife hoarder. And oh Lord, the guilt by association with that was is atrocious. I have been called all kinds of things simply because I am friends with somebody who, when they were in prison, got questionably, absolutely disgusting tattoos. Now, could he have had those tattoos removed? Yeah, maybe. You know, he says the reason he didn't was he wants to remember where he was at, where he came from, how far he has come, kind of thing. I asked him point blank, "Are you a Nazi super, sympathizer, blah blah blah." He told me no. I read those texts on a live, and they say that when people tell you who they are, listen. He told me who he was, and I listened. That doesn't just mean if they tell you they're an asshole, then listen. It means if they tell you who they are, listen. And whether he believed in that stuff or not, way back in the day, is not important to me. I'm friends with the man that he is today. And I'm not going to apologize for that. And I am deeply worried about his health. So, ugh. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. That is so right. Mahalo. Mahalo, Miss Marcy. Aloha, Susie from Hawaii. Ugh, I love Hawaii. We have not been to Maui in a couple of years, and we miss it. We haven't been. It's been more than that. It's been since before the fire. So, aloha to you and mahalo for being here. Erica says the pizza is donated by our viewers, by the way, especially Abigail. Very special thanks. Yes. Not that it matters, but yeah, I would like to say that pizza is not being paid for by the SBTV Foundation, like some people like to say. It is donated. Abigail is amazing. Absolutely. I, yeah, I think it's wonderful. And good Lord, pizza, donuts sounds like a party to me. It's like anytime you can party and protest and have fun, I think only assholes would be worried about that. Having a problem. Marilee says, if you don't like a streamer, just don't watch them. It's not rocket science. Amen. Amen. Yeah. Hurt people, hurt people. I know it. It breaks my heart. It really does. Even when I'm angry or hurt myself because I too have been attacked, it still breaks my heart because I know it's coming from a place of hurt. And it's just, and not even hurt by the person that they're angry with. Yeah, she also says it's still not okay. Yeah, I have a shirt that says, "I don't care how you were raised, get over that shit," and I think it's funny, but I don't mean it, like, quite as, rudely as it sounds, but I'm just mean it by, like, we all have grown up with some shit. We all have. And, learn from it, grow from it, share your knowledge so that other people know and grow and all that, but don't wallow in it because that doesn't help anybody. Marilee says, coming from someone who suffered both physical and emotional abuse, sometimes I think the emotional abuse, is harder to move on from. I think so too. I really do. There's Mare being brilliant. I'm telling you, if anybody needs to write a book or have a channel or whatever, it is our Mare Bear. She has got so much knowledge and so much kindness and so many stories. I mean, she could tell it. She has a never ending supply of stuff. So is it Daynette? Daynette McClure says, "Hey, Susie, hello to you too. Good to see you. It seems like I've seen your name before, but I'm not for sure. But it seems like I have. But welcome, and I hope you come back." Marilee says, "Erica, I use the remnants of my scars to help other people. It sounds a bit strange, but I feel like it's what I'm supposed to do." Y'all, she is so good. She she talks us all off of the cliff so often. And I don't mean that, like, I don't mean to make it sound cliche or to minimize it, because she also really, really talks people off of some serious, serious cliffs, or, you know, she's amazing, y'all. If you ever need just a good soul in your life, I got one over here. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Susie and everyone here. New listener, ex lifeboater, you are welcome. Y'all, I won't lie, Wendy. I'm glad you're here. And I will tell you this, that the reason that I don't just do Scientology content anymore and haven't for the last several months is because of there being so many ex lifeboaters. I was just kind of adjacent, kind of an adjacent group, because some of them knew me from the lifeboat or from Reese's channel or from wherever. And so a lot of people that were deeply hurt by the lifeboat kind of just migrated over here, which I was thrilled by, and not just, for views, but I was so worried about them when everything kind of blew up there, because I was like, these were good people. And whenever I would go to the lifeboat, I watched it, not so much, even half the time I never knew what he was saying. I was paying attention to everybody in the chat, and how they were so awesome with each other. And I wanted to recreate, on some level anyway, that here. And so if you liked that kind of a deal where you really could feel connected to the mods and to the other people in the chat, that's what we try to have here, and we try to make it a safe place. And when all that blew up, I talked to friends and family and everything, and I said, I really feel drawn to absolutely still covering the former Scientology, the anti-Scientology thing, but I really want to kind of be a peer support kind of a channel that, has kind of, like, we kinda know the same people, kinda know the story already, so that they don't necessarily have to tell the whole story of, "I was this happened, that's absolutely fine if somebody wants to do that. But sometimes there's just a comfort in being with people that already know, they just already know. And so, there's a long time to explain that, but that's kinda what we have become here. And yeah, and I think that the lifeboat, a lot of it was not so much the people, but I think it was, getting pretty culty, and so it kinda feels like it connects good with the ex-Scientology community. It was certainly adjacent. And so welcome, and I hope that you come back, and I hope that others come too, honestly. Okay. K KRC? I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but KRC? I asked the question last night, when are they going to stop attacking each other and go back to fighting Scientology? That's a very good question, and that's what I really am hoping for, and I've not always done that. I have reacted to stuff, and I'm really trying not to do that anymore. My dog's gonna bark. But, yeah, that's what we've got to do. That's what we have got to do. We have got to stop fighting each other and remember who the enemy is, and that's what I wanna do here. Now, that doesn't mean we can't talk about hard things. It doesn't mean that we can't express opinions, that kinda thing, but we're just not gonna attack. So, she says, "I used to love Nora, but I can't watch a video on Aaron every damn day." I know it. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, "Damn, give it a break, you know? Give it a break. We get it. We absolutely get it." I don't think that okay, like, my husband does not like mushrooms. He doesn't have to tell me for 5 hours at a time every day that he doesn't like mushrooms. I get it. He also doesn't like carrots. I get that. I think he's crazy, but I get it, especially the mushrooms. We get it. If I don't know, and this is gonna be like I'm just being a little facetious. Okay, so if Aaron did something brand new that was just atrocious every damn day, then maybe he could be covered by it, get that covered. But when we're gonna talk about stuff from, 20 years ago or 2 years ago, whatever, and we're just gonna repeat the same shit every day, get over it. If you got something new to say, then say that. But until you got something new to say, shut the hell up. I'm tired of it. Ugh. But people gotta quit watching. I mean, as long as it's paying the bills, it's not gonna stop happening, and that's the truth. Okay. Hey, Kathy Mitchell says, "It's been a while." Hi, it has been a while, but I'm glad to see you. Okay, let's see here. Oh, really? I've been sub to you since the lifeboat sank. Well, I'm glad, and I hope that you come back and that you chat with us, and, if you ever wanna come on and tell your story, let me know because I am always interested in talking to people and hearing their stories. What led you to the lifeboat? What led you to here? Whatever. I'm always interested in that. And sometimes we just talk about like what good books have you read? What's your favorite movie? We just like to get to know each other on here. So if you're ever like to do that, you found the right place. Just keep coming back. I think a lot of people have been free falling these past few months. So many people that posted almost daily just kind of disappeared. Yeah. I think it might have been a good thing, but also hard. Yeah, absolutely. I just keep reading that over and over because it makes so much sense to me. And I was thinking about it from a point of a lot of good people that were content creators have disappeared, and some I'm not sad to see that, but others I am. And then also a lot of viewers that I know they probably just got tired of it and left. And so I hope some of them come back and give some of us that have stuck around a chance and to see that we're growing too. We're human and we do stupid stuff too, but we also grow and try, you know. So, whoops. Is it, yeah, Bunny Fufu, you'd love my story. Well, y'all email me. It's right down there. Email me and tell me a little bit and we will bring you on because I probably would. I am a people person. I love getting to know people. I really do. So get a hold of me. I'll listen. Hey, Christy, yay. She dropped in to say hi. We are getting ready to take the buddy dogs on a walk. We got a new dog. Everyone be careful on this weather coming up this weekend. Yeah, girl, we are expecting like a foot of snow. I'm like, what? In Oklahoma? I mean, it happens, but we've been like 60, 70 degrees, and all of a sudden it's like, we're going to get a foot of snow. No, I'm not having it. I don't like it at all. Girl, I still have not mailed you that package, by the way. I will. It's not anything huge and important, but it's cute and I want to send it to you. So I'm gonna try. So email me later and let me know if that's still a good address. So I will try to get that in the mail. If not this week, then next week. It's gonna kind of depend on the weather, to be perfectly honest. It's gonna depend on the weather. So, y'all, I'm gonna go. Oh wow, we are almost at 2 hours. That's long. That's long for me. I'm surprised John's not back there saying, "You gotta rest." Yeah, you can have that snow, Susie. I don't want it. I do not want it. Lincoln Park is the name of that band. When you say in the end, it's the line. It's one of the lines in the song, and every time I hear it, now I'll be singing that song in my head the rest of the night. So I hope all of you are. So, oh my, -31 Fahrenheit. Oh, Fahrenheit for the night. Lord, kiss freak, you can keep it. Been horrible here. The high was only 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Ben, if it is 60 degrees, his world is ending. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you so much to my mods and for everybody that's here. I'm so glad you hung with me. This was a long one, y'all. Thank you, John in the back, for doing all that work. He is really good at weeding through all the comments and stuff. So I just want to thank everybody. I will be back tomorrow. We've got a good show tomorrow too. So it's kind of a hard one, but it's going to be good. A little crime story. So I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I love you and bye.
Hope you enjoyed the show, so glad you were here. We meet here most days, we're but first coffee and you're welcome here. We talk about hard subjects, but we also laugh a lot. If you have a loss or win, we will cheer for you. We're but first coffee and you are safe here. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't want to miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't want to miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to